Yeah, mate, we got hards on. We're going to the end.
I mean, none of us really want to be doing this right now, do we? I'll give you. You can go. I'll give you a chance. You can leave now if you want. I'm sure there's other things you'd rather be doing. Right now, for me, sleeping. It's quite late. You want to go sleep? That's fine. You want to go live your life? You want to go run up a mountain and just scream at God? Go ahead, because that race was dog shit. Like it was fucking shit. Like, and we're gonna go through all the three sectors today. This is hards on. But we got the hards on. We're going to the end, and we're gonna go through all three sectors. Sector 1, rate my quali. Sector 2, the race run down in Sector 3, the middle woods. But I tell you what, man, you wait 3 weeks for a race and they serve you up that shit. At Baku as well, a track that provides such drama, but not today. Let's start at quali then. I know I'm really selling this, aren't I? But hey, look, it happens. I think we're going straight into another race week. It's a double race week, which is good, because if we had to have another gap after that, shit, awful. And before we even talk about quality, I just want to talk about the formatting of this race. They've taken it too far. Of this race weekend, they've taken it too far. The whole adding in sprint and like a quality for the sprint and stuff. I actually liked that last season. That was kind of cool. Like occasionally have these weekends where you qualify for the sprint race. The sprint race decides the order. That was fun because you get an extra bit of sort of racing activity type of fun for a day. You get to get rid of some practices that I never watch. And it just seems fun. Some people saying it takes out the history of like, getting a pole and it meaning something, because you can get pole and it means nothing, right? The quality is just for the sprint. And I get that too, but that's why I like the fact it's only for like 4 races. It's not for all of them, because I don't think I'd like it for all of them. It's nice to have as a nice little treat, you know what I mean? A nice little sort of, when your parent would pick you up from school, it wouldn't be every day. You'd be like, oh, can I get a sweet? Can I get chocolate? Most of the time, they're like, no. But then, 4 times out of 10, 2 times out of 10, 1 time out of 10, maybe never, I don't know your parents, but you get one. And you're like, oh my God, you're real. I believe again. So it's a nice little treat, basically. This weekend, it was just too much bullshit. It was 2 qualifyings, a sprint and a race. And I was just like, no, this is why Christmas isn't every day. Things feel pointless and irrelevant. So having a qualifying for the race and a qualifying for the sprint, first of all, it was just boring watching them qualify for a sprint race, which is a race that doesn't decide the order for the grid. So when I watch people qualify for the actual race, I'm like, this is exciting. This means something. When I'm watching the qualifying for the sprint race, I'm like, okay, this qualifying means so much. You get a chance of getting 8 points. Cool. You guys are qualifying for a chance to get between 1 and 8 points. Big deal. I know, like, championships can come down to the point or two, and everything means everything. That's why people go for the fastest lap and stuff like that. But for me, I'm just like, big deal. Okay, you got pole for a race where you can get 8 points. Cool, sure. Didn't care. And then the race itself, you get through it. Obviously, it's only a few laps and stuff, and obviously there's yellow flags taking out some of these crucial laps, which are initial little sprint, which is annoying. But then it's just like, once you get the top 8 and you're like, okay, this pretty much isn't changing. It's like, okay, not only is the rewards so low, it's like you got the option of at best 8 points. It's like, it's just the top 8. When it was the sprint deciding the race, it was still entertaining to watch, because like the whole order still means something. Like I still care about everyone else who isn't in the top 8, because it's like they're still battling for where they will start on the race tomorrow. Without that, it was just like if I was in P13, I just be like, well, okay, just want to bring me in, guys. Yeah, bring me in. I don't really give a fuck, because I'm just like, I don't care about what Sonoda's doing or whoever was down there. I don't care what Piastri or these guys are getting up to. Oh, you overtook him. Whoa, cool. Oh, on turn 6, that's rare. I don't care. I don't care. And even if you did get P8, it's probably someone who like, if it'd probably be someone like Norris anyway. He got a point. Whoa, big. You know what I mean? It's just like, it was just boring. I sat there just like, wow, I'm bored. This is shit. I'm watching this out of just like, sort of like, I don't know. I don't even know why I didn't just change it over. I was just like, I guess I'm invested in the sport of F1 now, so I'm going to watch and finish this, but I'm actively not enjoying it. So, and then we get to the actual race, which should at least be the home run. Like, regardless of the weekend prior to that, it should be where where things are good. But we're not at the race rundown yet, so we won't get there yet. We're going to be rating the quali. And I'm going to just rate the 2 and 1 and say what they were like as a whole. I mean, Leclerc was on pole for the race, I think. Perez took pole for the sprint, maybe, or maybe it was Verstappen. I don't know. George didn't get out of Q2. I think both the McLarens got in Q3. I mean, look, spoiler alert, a quali's not going to get higher than a 5 out of 10 if a Red Bull or Ferrari is on pole for me. Yeah, you know, snooze fest. Okay. Into what was that called? Race rundown. Let's run down this race. That was so good. Honestly, there was like 10, 15, 20 laps. Could have been 50 laps where I was just like, my eyes red raw, open, boiling, just watching the screen like there hasn't been a single overtake in this entire not even 19th or 18th. Not even, nothing's happening. Nothing's bloody happening. God, it was painful. It was like Perez led with Verstappen behind pretty much from like lap 2 onwards, and that's just how it ended. Hamilton, my little battles won, like Oscar Norris beat Oscar, which, great, cool, I like that. Hamilton beat Russell, I like that, Verstappen didn't win, so at least we might not just have a Verstappen running away with it season. They're keeping that dream alive of just at least a little bit of entertainment. I'd prefer if it was a different team providing that entertainment, but at least it's something. So there you go. It's sort of crushing Ricardo's dreams of getting back in the sport, but here we are. But, who we should talk... what would be more fun to talk about? Is some of the people who took L's this weekend and who took dubs. So the race report, not much to report. Genuinely, worst race this season, easy. It was what it was. Boring. So we're going to go straight into the mid awards, which is crazy because we're 7 minutes in. We're already in the last final sector. But there's a lot to talk about in the awards because we're going to talk about how, oh my God, some drivers have just really let me down this season as a whole. And this is sort of the cherry on top of the cake of shite. And maybe some people who are impressing me or I'm relieved about. I think in terms of the hard award, which is the best award to get, rock hard. No one really gave a hard performance type thing. To give a hard performance, you got something. It's got to be mean. You did something. Actually, what? Here's something. I loved it. This is what I fucking love. And I don't care who's in the right or wrong about this. I just love that it's happening. I just like to watch the world burn. Max Verstappen versus George Russell. George Russell, your stock is rising again, my son. Your stock is rising again. I like that. He was at Williams. Loved you, mate. Mr. Saturday. He's fucking Robin Hood. He's taking from the rich, giving to the poor. He's out here just sort of, he's like a little neighborhood. He's like a friendly neighborhood George Russell. He's just out here, everyone loves him. Everyone knows him. He's a good guy. Gets to Mercedes, first season, wasn't feeling it. For some reason, the magic was gone. I'd seen it before. The curtain had been pulled back. I saw the man pretending to be the Wizard of Oz thing. I'm just like, fuck this shit. But then that man got angry. He got pissed. And George Russell's a different animal this season. He's a different beast. And I'm here for it. I'm a fan of it. I like it. I like he didn't back down. I like he's battling hard. I like the whole argument. I like what he's pulling out of Verstappen. I need someone in the sport who will piss Verstappen off. Because when Verstappen's pissed, it's a better world we live in, When he's got a teammate who just bends himself over him whenever the team asks him to, and when he's not got anyone really challenging him because the cars just aren't too competitive this year, when someone is battling him, I need them to battle him hard. And there's now 2 people who you can guarantee will do that. And those people are obviously Lewis Hamilton, because he's got history, and he's, whether it's for P14 or P1, he's always going to fight Verstappen hard. or now George Russell, who's like sort of back in the boy and sort of taking some, I don't know. I liked it, man. And did he push him wide? I don't know. Did he damage his car? Yeah. Did he not like it? No. We got Verstappen calling George a little princess. Just because this little princess, wants to start driving to my car. It's just like, oh my God, man. This is the most exciting thing that's happened this whole race weekend. Oh my God, it's great. You got George basically playing the card of, oh mate, you wanna race? I'm just racing. If you can't take it, get out of the sport. And you got Verstappen being like, that's not how you race. You don't even know how to race. When Verstappen said, like, George just kind of walked away. He's kind of like, I'm not doing this right now. Like, he's so like flustered. George is like funny in a different kind of way. When he gets on the radio and they're like, just tell me, did I make it? Did I make it into Q1, into Q3? They're like, that's P11, George. And he's like, sugar. And it's just like, George, you can say fuck. We heard you say it. Or you can say the word you're censoring is shit, George. And guess what? They'll probably censor it for you half the time anyway. Sugar. It's great. It's great. George sort of walks off from the little conversation like he's like, I can't do this right now. I'm just, you can't take it. Whatever. Talk to the hand. And then Hamilton's like screaming at him as he walks away, like, he's gone. Like, when they're shouting in the movies, it's like, he's gone. He's just screaming at him, hollering. He's like, when he gives him the threat, this is what I need. Like, he walks away and like as a last thing to say, he's arguing with him and George walks away. As the last thing, he's like, okay, fine. Expect the same thing for you then. It's the same thing. The same thing. Okay. The same thing is what he feels anyway and what happened. George Russell not only pushes him wide, but drives into his car. He's straight up like, okay, next time I go around the corner, if I need to, I will drive directly into you, George Russell, and ride you off the road. You've awoken the beast. I love it. You're such a fucking... I don't know. What? This song isn't relevant to this moment. I love it. Apart from that part. And I do love it. I love it indeed. I love it and I think I deserve it. So that was great. So, which one do I give the hard award to though, George? I'm going to give it to George over Max. Even though Max had more of the aggression and he said the more quotable great lines, called him little princesses and shit. I'm going to give it to George for the fact that he awoke it in him. And I love that. And I'm grateful to that. And George, your stock, you was at rock bottom, mate. You're now going to the moon. Price is up. Mid award is for someone who I think just had a very quiet performance, or maybe a bit of an overrated one. And I'm probably going to give it to. I don't know what that noise was. I'm trying to think. The name that flashed across my brain there was Lando Norris, but he did eventually get past Hulkenberg in the end. He was just sort of mid, just kind of like. You know what? He's been getting away with it a little bit too much, and I've always been someone who I made a whole thing talking about how he's not only a smart. I love like his IQ, his racing IQ outside of his skill, and I think he's incredibly underrated. And I've always said that, but recently, for too long now, second half of last season, maybe even the whole of last season. No, I'll just say second half, maybe, and now leading into this one, I just think. It can't go without being said anymore, and I just think he's too much of a non-factor in scenarios where he should be a factor, where scenarios where he should be having a say in something that's happening, and he's just not. Carlos Sainz, it's time to step forward, step into the spotlight, and stop just being here to take part, take over. Sometimes outshine Leclerc, and not just in a qualifying, but in a race, outshine him. Get angry, get aggressive, fight about team orders. Like, at least be in the conversation where you can be fighting about team orders. It's just not happening enough. And there's not enough fight there. And he's just going under the radar too much in races. And it was the same today. I was thinking about it. Like, he's just there in P5 or 6 or whatever. And it's just like, sure, you're keeping just ahead of Hamilton, but you're not doing enough. And it's just poor. And you should be getting a bit more forward to attack who's in front of you. Or, I don't know, just times. I don't know. Signs are bad for you in the past, but it ain't good enough, son. And the soft award, Limp Biscuit, who had a really flaccid performance. Okay. Whole weekend was shite, and I'm starting to get worried. Like, I expected a performance. I mean, you see, like, Guan Yu Zhou come into the sport, and obviously called a pay driver. I guess he's a pay driver, but, you know, people wrote him off as, because he's a pay driver, he will be shit, because most are. Actually has just been good and solid non-stop. And I just think this driver who's came in this season, I expected to not only be better than their teammate, at least be on par, and at least not be actively bad, like not look out of place, because I'd seen him in the sport at least for a race before. Nick De Vries, you're not only looking like someone who is consistently being beaten by his teammate in Sonoda, who at least has been there 2-3 years, whatever. But forget that. Forget being beaten by your teammate every week. You're looking closer to someone like Schumacher, not the good one, or what's his name? Big old Ukarali. Oh, Mazepin. You're looking like you got about as much ability as him. Like, just in practices or qualifying, just driving off the road, crashing, little knocks here on the wall. It's just like... And when he gets going and he's not spinning out and making little mistakes, yeah, his pace looks alright. Looks like he can overtake some cars and stuff. But you're just making a lot of mistakes right now, Nick. And you did in qualifying. You probably did somewhere else. And then in the race, it's like, oh, Nick's out. Of course. And how did you do it? You tapped into a wall. It's just like... I had higher hopes for you, Nick. Based off the fact you won F2, I always thought you were someone who got unlucky, didn't get into the sport because of maybe pay driver situations or whatever. Especially because the year before or after you was in F2, the top 3 going to the sport, and the year you won it, you didn't. That just seems so unlucky. You know, you had to go to Formula E, and, you know, fight out there. It's not the same, but you won it. You then had a chance to have a race in Formula 1, and you got a point in your first race in Williams. You know, and it was just like, wow, these are quite impressive things. It's going to get your head on your shoulders. Maybe take yourself a bit too seriously. Maybe you talked some shit about Sonoda a little bit, thinking he's reckless, thinking he'd maybe walk in and be better than him. That already maybe had people against you a little. But now you've shown up and been so much worse than I expected, and not in a way that you're just like slow, but just like constant mistakes that make you look like you can't even drive a car. And I need improvements, man, because I've not got money on the line, but I've got pride, and I put a lot of eggs in this basket. I put a lot of, you know, I defended you a lot. A lot of people predicting the driver standards had you dead last, all of them, even below Sargent. And I just thought, what? Why? And they're all right now. You're not even finishing races, son. Need to fix up. You're getting the slow award, De Vries, because I just need to say this right now. I need to put it onto the ether. It ain't good enough. It ain't good enough. I'm not happy, man. Finish more race. Okay, we got. Where's next week's race? Oh, it's Miami, isn't it? It's not the track you want, man. I can't remember what the race was like last year. I just get the feeling it's not great for overtaking, and I'm basing this off of the game of Formula One, where it's just kind of like, because they wanted it to be like Monaco, didn't they? That's why they got all the fake water and stuff. Meant to be real water this year. Wowie woo. Yeah, they kind of want it to be their own little American Monaco, which just makes you think it's probably, I can't remember, but it's probably not great for overtakes. But we can pray, we can hope. Look, guys, I don't know why I'm apologizing. I didn't set it up, but it wasn't a great race in Baku. But we'll move on. We'll live, you know. So, you know, it is what it is. This was Hard Zone. We got Hard Zone. We're going to the end. I'll see you guys next week talking about the Miami Grand Prix. Thank you, guys.